So, hi, hey everybody. Today here I have Miss Commonwealth Alexia Williams. So, hey, how's your week been?
My gosh, a whirlwind. I mean, we were just talking about how it didn't feel like Friday at all.
Literally.
So it's kind of like a jumbled mess of what day is it. Everything's kind of been all crammed into this week. So it's been
Yeah.
pretty chaotic, but a lot of fun.
Yes. So, I have these questions here.
Okay.
We have kind of sort of a little rhetoric, but
Yeah.
like feel comfortable, do whatever feels right?
Perfect.
Okay. First question up. How has your work week been? Which is contrary to the question that I asked you before. Like, specifically work based, how has
hmm
that been for you?
Well, as a news anchor, everything changes each and every day. So we have different stories that we have to grab, or different stories that we have to read, national stories, local stories.
Right, yeah.
It changes each and every day. But with the recent UVA protests that we've had with the pro Palestinian protests on
Yes.
grounds, it's definitely been a lot more chaotic than just a regular normal week.
Have you
So
interviewed somebody who was a part of those protests?
I didn't personally because I'm an anchor, so our reporters go out
Mm.
into the field and ask those questions, and then they turn a package or a VOSOT or they go live in the field, and that's when I'm tossing it to them or reading their scripts.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And have you like done like a story on that yet, or like? So there's been stories on that so far.
Yes, and
Okay.
I went live out there one time, but I was just helping one of my friends, one of our reporters. It was her story, so I was behind the camera helping shoot it and edit it and
Okay.
that kind of stuff. So
Nice. Okay, cool. And so our next question is, what would you say is one of your biggest personality traits? So like the thing that stands most out about your personality.
yeah, wow, that's a really good question. I feel like I'm kind of a jack of all trades, which is really nice. Again, with my job, you kind of have to have all these different emotions and personalities.
Right, yeah.
I would say, since I'm the oldest of five, I grew up kind of having leadership, a lot of leadership roles, and a lot of, role modeling opportunities. So I would say that guidance and trying to be there for others and really listening to others is a really good trait that I have and that I've honed in on and developed over time is just being able to be in the moment and be present.
Oh, I love that. That's so nice. Okay. And then next, I okay, this might sound a little odd. I did look you up though,
Okay.
and I saw that you got your bachelor's science in hold on, because it
It's a
was a big
lot.
word. It
It's a
was
lot.
there's a lot. You minored in a lot.
I
Did you want
did.
to tell me about that a
Yeah,
little bit?
sure. So I graduated from Liberty University and I went to that college not knowing anything really about it. I just knew it was 14 hours away from home, which was a big jump
Uh-huh.
because everything that I ever knew was back in Alabama, my home state. And so coming up to Virginia was a really big shift and a really big change, but I enjoyed it. Love Liberty. I always go back. My brother goes there. So it's been nice to have him up here now. And so, yeah, the big word that you were trying to remember, because it's a hard one to remember, it's interdisciplinary studies. And
Mm,
so I double majored in that field. Like you have two cognits that you can do.
yes.
And mine were theater arts performance and communications. And then, yes, a lot of minors. So I triple minored in business, criminal justice, and digital media arts performance. So I was
Oh
running all
yeah.
over the place, each and every building on school property, on like our campus, I went into, except for the
Wow.
medical school.
Well, yeah.
I didn't go there, but every other school, even the equestrian center, because I
Even
did
oh yeah,
some
you did horseback
classes and
riding.
horse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like to
Wow.
say that I was constantly running. I
Mm,
also like to say that I'm not in a circus, but I'm a pretty good juggler. So I'm
mm.
really good at juggling different activities, events, times, that kind of stuff.
That's a really nice adjective. And like almost to piggyback off that, tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about how college life was for you.
I loved it. If I could do anything over again, it would be go back to college and just relive it.
Oh
The
wow.
experience was so much fun. I made such great memories and friends. And now that I'm out of it, I'm like, man, I wish I would have just stayed in it forever, except school and also student loans and debt. You know, you don't want to be in that mess forever for your
Yeah.
entire life. But I am looking at going into law school. So eventually I might open the academic doors again. But I miss it each and every day. I love it. I always tell people that are thinking about going to college or are currently in school to just enjoy the moment because it goes by like that. It
Mm.
is fleeting and you'll hold on to those memories for the rest of your life. So make sure that you make the most out of it.
Nice. I always hear like a lot about college, and when people talk to me about college specifically, I always hear a lot about how stressful it is and
Yeah.
about how like there's always so much going on, and like
Right.
you really have to choose something that you really love. Like, so
Find
college for
your
you was
passion.
very find your passion, and
Hmm.
you say that you found your passion.
I
You found your passion
did.
in a lot of
There was a
passions.
lot of different things that I wanted to
Yes.
do. So my biggest takeaway, I guess, with the whole college experience, even before I got there, I was like, I want to make the most out of my time. I'm paying for these 4 years. I don't want to shorten it. I
Hmm.
don't want to extend it. What can I do to fill those 4 years and get the most out of what I'm paying
Oh,
for?
very
And
nice.
so that's when I went up and I was like, hey, can I make this and this and this happen? And my academic advisor was like, if you think you can balance the time. And I was like, I bet you I can. And so I did. And that was great. And I was stressed. There's a lot of stress that comes with that, but that's life. I mean, outside of college, you're going to be more stressed.
Fair.
College, at least you have peers your age. Everyone's going through the same thing, everyone's dealing with the same stuff. And you kind of bond over that. And that's where your lifelong friends are formed. And then you get tossed out into the real world, right?
Yeah.
And it's like starting over again. And it's beautiful, but it's also chaotic. So I think for me, college was just that wake up call of like, what do I want to see myself doing for the rest of my life? And to be honest, I didn't even know. I didn't
Really?
think that journalism was going to be my passion. I didn't think that I was going to get a job in journalism because I had a major in it. And I was kind of thinking to myself, man, I'll just graduate straight out of college, go right into law school. And then I got contacted by CBS 19, which is the station that I work for right now.
Hmm.
They were like, hey, your professor reached out to us. We would love to interview you. And I was like, oh, okay, that's awesome. Like, I guess I'll see what this is like. And I
Nice.
took like 2 classes in college in journalism,
Uh huh.
and I knew that I really liked it, but I didn't know I would love it. Then I got here and I was like, man, I love this. So I'm really grateful that it just kind of all played out into this wonderful masterpiece. Um, I really just give all the credit and thanks to God because it's just like I wouldn't have been able to do it myself.
Mm.
There's no way that I would have picked this path for me.
Nice. That's really nice. Like,
Yeah.
I also heard a lot about you getting like published, like with the works that you did in college, like
Mm-hmm.
for research. And
Yes.
so, would you say that research is like a really big passion for you?
It is. It still is. I'm in journalism, so
Well,
I
yeah.
do a lot of research. I do a lot of reading, writing, trying to figure out what's going on all the time. But in college, in high school, really, it started sparking my interest of figuring out things, figuring out how to better things. And so the research that you're talking about, I did as my senior project at Liberty. And
Mhm.
it was basically, if I'm trying to break it down and make it a little bit more easy to understand, it's recidivism rates for juveniles and
Oh,
how theater
yeah.
arts performance can help reduce recidivism rates. So, how can we go into the juvenile justice department and really focus in on these kids and give them theater arts performance, an outlet for them to be creative, to express themselves? If they're not musically inclined, maybe they're a dancer. If they're not a dancer, are they an actor? If they're not any of those, then can they design sets? Do they like costumes? Do they like sewing? Do they like painting? There's a lot of different avenues. And so using that as this idea to go in and be like, would this help kids reintegrate back into society, get them into something that they enjoy doing and that they love doing outside of the life of crime? So
Mm.
I was really passionate about that. I spoke with a lot of different universities about it and then did research. We obviously at Liberty University got published college crossings and scholars and stuff like that. So
That's really cool. Because, like,
yeah,
I remember at Model General Assembly, which is basically like Model UN, but like we're
yeah,
modeling legislation.
right.
And there was a lot of talk about bills that were going to pass that would then raise the class felony for a lot of crimes, even if you were a minor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember bringing up the conversation about rehabilitation, and nobody really could answer that question because I find that a lot of people don't really consider rehabilitation for even
Yeah,
like for young kids. So like
right.
juvenile kids, like it's really important to me at least that like rehabilitation is considered because these kids are
Absolutely.
so young. You know, they
Absolutely.
have so much life ahead of them.
Yeah,
They
their
shouldn't
brain
like
has not fully developed. And
yes,
even when your brain does fully develop, sometimes there's just really terrible mistakes that you make or choices that you do.
and you have
And
to
I believe
learn
that
from
people
them.
can change. And I would love to see more of that change happen. Not everyone can, But I think that we definitely should give people more of an opportunity to find out if they can.
Yes. Okay. And now we're going to segue into our next
Yeah.
question. So the next question that I have is your radio show. You
Yeah,
had a radio show
I
and it was called
did.
Candid Conversations.
Wow,
So
you really researched me.
I did, yes.
Okay, perfect. I love it. Gosh,
So what was that like? How did that go?
so it was a brainstorming session that I had with two of my best friends at Liberty, Taryn and Rachel, if you're listening. And we came up with the idea just to have this talk show where it was a Liberty radio station, and we got on it every week and just shared about what was going on campus, in our lives, personal, academic, whatever it was. And we always shared like a Bible verse at the end as well.
Mm.
And it was just an hour-long conversation between three best friends on what college life was like. So Candid Conversations truly was a candid conversation between all of us. We had no script. We didn't know what we were going to talk about. We had some points we never even hit on half the time. So it was just a really great time. It was my senior year, and I ate it up. I loved it. I wish I would have done it from my freshman year.
Oh, very nice. Because, like, I don't know. Like, I love the idea of just having, like, casual conversations
Yeah,
and then, like, storing them for memory, even.
exactly.
Exactly. Because, like, those memories are, like, so important. And even if you can, like, just have a good time, like, in just, I don't know. That's really cool. I just think that was really cool. And when I saw that about you, I wanted to ask about it because, like, you're on a podcast here and I'm doing this, like, this is a passion project. So hearing about the fact that you had a passion project was very nice. So moving on into the next question, which is a little more off topic. If you were a Disney princess, what animal would be your sidekick?
Oh my gosh, an animal sidekick with wolf, 100%.
A
A
wolf.
wolf,
So not a
100%.
dolphin, even though you can call
No, I
dolphins.
can.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good second choice. Pretty good second one.
Mm-hmm.
But wolves have always been my favorite animal. Wolves and
Yeah.
horses, they're about a tie. And then
Fair.
the dolphin,
Wolves are
for
really
sure.
cool. So why wouldn't you pick dolphin? Because if you can already speak to
Yeah,
dolphins, like you speak dolphin language, so then
right.
dolphins are not your first choice because you like wolves so
No.
much.
Well, see, the thing with dolphins, if I were to really think about this, so be a Disney princess, I guess I would be bound to the ocean, though, right?
Oh,
So I
good
wouldn't even
point.
be able to go into fresh water or on land or anything like that because dolphins are saltwater creatures. So I don't know. I mean, maybe a mermaid princess, then yeah, that would definitely be my number one choice. But I'm also afraid of sharks, so I don't
Oh,
know
good
if I
point.
really want to be a mermaid princess.
No, because I'm like terrified of the ocean. I can't swim. It's like,
No, oh my
no, it's
gosh. Yeah, I
bad.
grew up on the ocean, so you would think that would also play into my
Yeah.
number one animal, right? But there's a lot out there, and you know, it's not my territory. I didn't grow up in the ocean, I grew up on the
The
ocean,
ocean is a
so
whole
it's
other
like
world.
I'm not gonna mess with their home. It's their home.
Yeah.
So
Okay, and so we're going to segue into another question.
okay,
What language do you speak and how slash why?
what language do I speak?
Yeah, like how many languages do you speak if you speak any other languages?
So obviously English.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not as great as it should be every once in a while because I'm dyslexic. So whenever I go on air, you'll hear me mess up. Hopefully not all the time, but a little tripping every once in a while. And then I took 5 years of Spanish, but gosh, they say if you don't use it, you lose it, and I think I might have lost it. So
Eek.
I know, but I can sing in 9 languages, so I can read it. It's just a matter of being able to speak it and hold a conversation with people. Sometimes I can understand by listening,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't really say much back.
Oh, wait, what 9 languages do you speak? Well, do you sing in?
So obviously English, Spanish, German, Italian, Greek, Hebrew, and three African dialects. So
Oh, wow. Hebrew?
yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah,
That's
that's
so
actually
cool.
one of my favorite ones to speak in, just because it just rolls off your tongue, and it's just so breathy, airy, light. It's
Hmm.
really pretty.
Nice. I I don't know. I usually never come across people who can either speak or even like sing Hebrew. So like, and I have Jewish roots.
Oh,
So like hearing
awesome.
about people like talk Hebrew or like just talk about like I just don't hear it super often.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
So
sure.
that's really interesting.
I loved it. I did a lot of theater growing up, and I did some tours. And with the Pensacola Children's Chorus that I was part of, they had all these different languages and cultures that we learned about. So it was a really awesome time.
Is that where you learned like all these 9 languages or like how to sing in them?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So you learned Hebrew, the African dialect, like all of that?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Nice.
And then
That's
I did some
very
opera work
diverse.
too with the Pensacola Opera for a little bit.
Oh, so you sing opera.
Totally.
Wow,
I was
that's so
classically
cool.
trained, so
Oh, I did not hear about that. Oh my
yeah,
god,
I'm a
that's so
light
cool.
lyric soprano, so
Oh.
pretty high up.
I I don't really sing often, but when I do sing, I usually sing closer to like alto. Like I have reached soprano, like I think like once, like a couple of notes, like maybe half soprano.
Well, you could be the alto to my soprano because I can't go very low.
Oh, I love alto.
So
Like when alto and sopranos like mix, I love
yeah,
like that music
the
is so nice.
harmonizing is so
Yes, it has such a
wonderful.
good cadence. Okay,
Absolutely.
and then we're moving on to sort of our last question, but I do have another question.
Okay.
What is something you were told as a kid that you find very valuable to you today?
My parents really instilled in me that I can do whatever it is that I put my mind to. And I was a theater kid growing up. So whenever I told them that I wanted to major in theater, a lot of parents are like, "You're going to a university to major in theater?
Mm.
Why are you going to quote unquote waste your degree?" But my parents never saw it that way. They were like, "That's your passion. That's what you want to do. We will support you because we know that you're going to do fantastic in it." And of course, I still had that as part of my major, but then I found out other things that I wanted to do with my life as well.
Uh-huh.
But it's that core belief inside of myself that no matter what it is, if I want to do it, I'll have that support from my family. And so not being able or not being afraid to reach those goals and really go out of my way to try and become someone that I have always dreamed of becoming.
Mm. That is really sweet. That's really nice. Going back to the theater thing though, because I'm a really big theater kid. What's your favorite play?
My favorite play that I grew up loving and still love to this day is
Mm-hmm.
Phantom of the Opera.
Ooh, that's
My
a really good
favorite
one.
Broadway musical to watch in person would
Mm-hmm.
be Anastasia, but they took that off of Broadway.
Yes, but I love
My
Anastasia.
favorite. Oh my gosh. I could
Yes.
go on and on, rave about that musical for the rest of my life. And then obviously to listen to while I'm driving in the car and jamming out would be Hamilton. I
Hamilton.
mean, who doesn't love Hamilton?
What's your favorite Hamilton song?
Skyway Sisters. I love the women empowerment in it, and I love them, just being sisters and singing about it.
I agree.
It's nice to hear.
Mm. Have you ever like what place have you been in specifically?
Girl, that's a long list. I'd have to write them all out.
Okay, well then let me bring it down to one play. Have you heard of like Heather's?
Yes.
I love Heather's so
I've never
much.
been in it, but I would love to do something in relation to it, whatever it is. Painting a prop, I don't even care. That would be awesome. That's a
I
really cool one.
usually only work with like tech for like theaters, but like I would like to go into acting at some point. It's
Yeah,
just,
you
do
should
you have any
branch
tips for
out.
acting? Like if somebody was really shy, let's say,
Oh my
and they
gosh.
wanted to go into acting, how would you advise them into, like moving from tech to acting?
Well, funny enough, I grew up being so shy. I mean, really, really, really shy to talk to people. And theater was the only outlet to where I didn't feel that shyness and like
Okay.
wanting to hide myself because it was an outlet to where I didn't care what other people thought of me. And it's kind of weird saying that because sitting down with you right now, I would
Uh-huh.
have 12 years ago never been able to do. But I could
Huh.
go up on a stage in front of 2,000 people and be completely fine. And so it's a totally different realm with shyness. Now, not everyone has my experience in it. So I would say the biggest thing that kind of broke me out of my shell was just to think like no one's ever watching. And if they care that much, they shouldn't be there. So if they're really going to judge you while you're up there giving it your best, giving it your all, being passionate about something, loving what you do, and shining on a stage, and they're going to be there to judge you,
Fan behavior? Fan behavior?
listen, it is. And it's one of those things where you think hindsight is always 2020 and you're like, hey, I'm doing this for me and no one else. And if I'm making myself proud, that's all that matters. And so that carries on to the rest of your life, I think, too, because you shouldn't care what other people have to think about you. And theater's a great way to not care. Because if you're there because you love it and nothing else.
That's really nice. So I think that concludes our session.
Oh, awesome. Well, that
So
was painless and
yeah,
easy
totally.
and fun. I
It
liked
was so natural. I love having this conversation. Like
Yeah,
this was
this has
really
been great.
nice. Yeah.
Well,
So
thank you for reaching out. I appreciate it.
yeah, of course. Thank you so much for coming on. And you're
Course.
running for Miss Virginia, right?
Yes, Miss Virginia in June. So wish me luck. I'm preparing right now, doing a lot of public appearances and engagements and activities.
When's your
And
next public appearance?
so I actually have one tomorrow with the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. So I'm giving back by
Oh, so
volunteering for
cool.
Stamp Out Hunger, which is a huge national drive that they do for making sure that people have a meal. People have something to go out and grab if they need it. So I'm super excited to be doing that tomorrow. I'll be doing it from 6 to 8 at the United States Post Office in Charlottesville. So yeah, I love getting involved in anything. It doesn't matter if it's part of my CSI, which my CSI for Miss Virginia is the STAR program, which I created about 6 years ago. And
Oh yeah.
I shared with you
Yeah.
about that, right? The 5 main areas of growth: finance,
Mhm.
career, self care, relationships, and health. And STAR stands for Successful Training with Adult Responsibilities. And so I do a lot with that, going out, speaking at the YMCA, and going to the Boys and Girls Club, and going to Boy Scouts of America. And so it's been a journey for that too. But I also just love going out and giving my time with Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, which doesn't necessarily have to do with my platform per se,
Yeah.
but it's just another way to get involved in my community.
Yeah. Getting involved is very important. And
Absolutely.
it's never a bad thing to help. It's always good to
No,
get
and you
involved.
always feel so much better after doing it. I did it this morning. I was packing senior boxes,
Uh-huh.
so I did that for about 9 to 11 this
Mhm.
morning, and I left just feeling so rewarded because that's something that not a lot of people see. It's closed door operations. You're just packing a box full of like canned goods, and then you leave and you're like, those canned goods are going to make a difference somewhere. That's what I
Volunteering is
do.
always so important. Like I always tell my friends that they should volunteer with me, and then like it's not even a bad thing to say that like you don't want to do it because I'm obviously never going to force somebody to do it, but
Right.
it's so beneficial even to like you, and like it speaks to your experience, and
Yeah.
then like just getting involved in your community just feels nice. Like it makes you
It
feel
does.
connected, you know?
It does that, and it's just like, again, just so rewarding because you'll never really truly know who it's benefiting, but you know it's going to someone that needs it.
Exactly.
So no
Yes.
matter what organization you're doing or partnering with, it's just another great way to go out and give of yourself and give of your time, because time is one of the most precious things that you have in life. And so to give it to others, I think just really shows who you are as an individual.
Nice. Okay, so I'm not gonna keep you much longer. Thank you for coming
Of course.
on,
Thank you.
and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye. See you guys next time.